Council as the sole governing authority of the Plaquemines Port, Harbor, and Terminal District to order at 5:10 p.m. Machines are open for roll call. We have 8 commissioners present. Dr. Gui is absent. First item, please.
Item 2, executive session will be withdrawn. 3, status report by the Executive Port Director.
Mr. Chilson.
I'd like to start off the first slide. Let us get the presentation up. Okay, today we'll be voting on the port policies and the Civil Service Handbook. So I just wanted to say a couple of words here. Number one, the Civil Service Handbook is a separate handbook. It's a port handbook that we have now, that we will be voting on. This will be the second time adopting the changes. We're in agreement that this handbook actually augments the Civil Service Handbook, the regular Civil Service Handbook, but this is a port-specific handbook. But it is different from the port policies. And as you guys have seen, as you reviewed those policies, not only do we have our office policies, but we now have vessel policies in there as well. And I'd like to point out that all of our policies are on SharePoint, and they are accessible. And we provided links for all of the commissioners, and if you would like any assistance in gaining access, please give us a call, and we'll make sure that we make that happen. More importantly, what I really want to emphasize is confidentiality implications. I know that we had some discussions about confidentiality in the past. Commissioner McCarty, I know you raised some questions about confidentiality, and I'd like to just make sure that I emphasize the difference between the, ethics in terms of confidentiality, ethics implications versus business law implications. So in no way in our policies, are we, suggesting that port personnel cannot speak to a port commissioner, number one. I think, but number two, we want to make sure that it's very clear to everyone that our policies do not in any way override, any, ethics guidelines that are set by statute. So if someone wants to whistleblow, or if someone wants to file a grievance through the civil service policy, all of those rights are still there. What we're really talking about when we talk about confidentiality, in our port policies is really about the business implications, and simple things like if we're negotiating a contract, or if we're working with a vendor and that vendor has a confidentiality with the port that we cannot share information that could lead to legal actions against the port in the future. So that's really what you will see in our policy. So I would say that if there are any questions about it, definitely let us know. But I just want to make it very clear that, when it comes to any type of ethics violation in any way whatsoever, there is nothing in our policies that even suggests that employees are not able to communicate that because of a confidentiality agreement. And I think lastly, our number one value that we have set for the port is to drive integrity and trust. So I just really wanted to emphasize that. If I can go to the next slide, I'd like to talk a little bit about our branding and our trademark, and I'd like to let Ms. Bell take the mic.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you, Mr. Tillotson. So on our branding and trademark update, I just want to point you first to our performance on public relations. Those two bullets actually describe only our public relations efforts and does not yet take into consideration our performance on social media, so strictly earned media and news coverage. So as it relates to the coverage we've received between March 15th and April 15th of 2025, in just these 30 days or so since the brand launch, an advertising value equivalency of $206,000, $206,623 to be exact, has been generated through the media placements that we have secured. That second bullet is about audience reach. So 78,297,971 unique individual impressions have been made by our messages or our media. And this information was pulled via a system called Cision, which is an independent software system that tracks all mentions of the Louisiana Gateway Port, the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District, and then does the calculation on that reach. So again, just in these short 30 days since launch, we have really been making a difference. I'll be working with the rest of the team to make certain that we continue this trend, and we are doing even more. But this is an amazing result in 1 month. Again, $206,000 of free advertising generated by the launch of this brand and by the placements that were made. I know that there's been a lot of interest in the status of the trademark. I sent an email earlier this week, and to follow up with that, I'd like to report that I've had another conversation with Mr. Vincent Knight of Brazil, Saxon Wilson, who is our trademark attorney. He is a veteran in this field, a professional, and we had a very good conversation yesterday morning. A thorough search was conducted by Mr. Knight, wherein he checked across the entire nation and beyond any similar marks, words, usage of logo or verbiage that was similar to ours. His extensive search did not reveal any conflict and did not turn up anything that he would mandate as a similar mark that is currently filed. Additionally, because we have launched our logo, trade name, and slogan, and it is in public use, we now have what is considered a common law or squatter's right to that image and to the colors and placement of that image. In other words, because we launched, we actually have ownership rights. If someone else were to replicate that, try to use it, and or try to mirror that, we would have a right to sue them. And this has been put into practice in former roles that I've held, and it does stand up in law. In the event the port does discover that someone else is attempting to mimic our logo, trade name, or slogan, we may actually be in a position to seek an injunction and bring legal action under the Landum Act for infringement, as the port can now prove first use and has its state trademarks in place. I should have an update again from Mr. Knight early next week to say where we are on the filings. And I would just add that in our conversation yesterday, we came to the decision that we would file trademark rights 38, 39, and 40, and additionally for all goods and services and the right to sell under this trademark, so that we have extensive and exclusive rights to all uses and applications of the logo, the slogan, and the color match. So I hope that appeases some of the concerns that were expressed, and that we are ready to go and bring in hundreds of thousands of more dollars of advertising value and reach even more people. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Bell. And if I can go to the financial update, so you guys received the financial numbers. Ms. Glapion, do you have any comments?
Thank you very much. Just to note on the financial update, you can see that the budgeted expense differences there were the ordinances that were passed at the last meeting. And just wanted to invite any questions. Okay, no questions. Next slide.
The emergency repairs on the Point Lahash Ferry Landing, we are on that final punch list, and we will have an update for that during the next meeting. And the landing replacement, the contract has been signed, and we're standing by waiting on a notice to proceed from DOTD. Again, this will be 100% placement of a new structure, and per the request of a couple of commissioners, during the next commission meeting, we will at least identify the specific location, a general area where we see the new landings will be. And I would just like to say for public purpose that, this will be a replacement of the existing landing. And the reason for that replacement is, it's just time. It's time to retire the old landing. We've made the repairs. We're anticipating those repairs will last for at least another decade for the intended use that it has today. But within the next 4 years, we plan on replacing that, and it will be for the same use. I want to be very clear. It is for the transportation of privately owned vehicles back and forth across the river on the southern end of the parish below the port complex. The Plaquemines Pride is due back on May 31st. The Port Authorities 1 and 2 are also due back at the same time. And the New Bill Ferry, again, is estimated to be, completed in 2028. Now to just talk about the Peters Road Bridge update. I'm very excited that, we have good news. The port and the parish have worked very closely with DOTD on, the award of the contract for the re-engineering of the bridge. That contract was awarded to BKI, and we're happy that it was awarded to BKI because we know they've done a lot of work in the past. And you will notice on our social media postings as of today that between the port, the parish, and DOTD, we're all launching similar announcements that this progress is ongoing. As far as we're concerned, this is emergency access across the river. It is a badly required, across the intercoastal waterway, I'm sorry. And it is a badly needed emergency access route for Plaquemines Parish and for the growth of the port. The 11-mile rail extension, we're continuing to make progress. We continue to discuss the right-of-ways with some of the landowners and some of the businesses that we're running through. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. And then in terms of the container port land purchases, we continue to make progress, with those purchases. And the Peters Road rail bypass, we are in discussions with the Union Pacific Rail now on some of their concerns that they've raised with a 10% design, but we are continuing to work through to a 30% design. And that concludes my update.
Thank you, Mr. Tilson. Any comments from the public? Mr. Kognovich.
Yes, sir. I got a question, but I want to do it after the meeting.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Jurison.
It just wouldn't be right if I didn't push my button. I really have nothing to say, but I just wanted to say I had to do it.
I was nervous.
Okay, are we going everybody down the road? Mr. Newsom.
Yeah, Ms. Tilson, I know you spoke earlier. Look, this commission would not be opposed to a bridge across the river also either. So if you can get DOTD to help us with that,
Look at Mr. Edwards. I'll look
Mr.
right
Edwards
down
would
to you.
second that, and
Mr.
we would
Edwards,
second that.
If you can get that.
He missed it. He missed that one. So that was a,
He said that Port's building a
Freudian
bridge
slip.
across the river.
no, I meant the intercoastal
Port is going to build a
waterway.
bridge across the river.
No,
He meant the intercoastal waterway, but
I corrected myself.
No more ferry service, bridge across the river. All right, all jokes aside. All right. Ms. McCarty.
I wanted to ask about the public records request. You said that the service on the internet is working, but both Mr. Garrett and I tried it, and it did not work. So what are the restrictions keeping it from working for us?
Well, we are doing an investigation right now because it worked. I personally tested it from my personal computer, my work computer, had about 10 people tested, and it's working. We are working with our IT consultant and our web consultant to try and source out why it's not coming from you. We do know that it is having some problems if it's entered from a phone as opposed to a laptop, but at this point, we have not found the source problem, but we are working on that.
Okay, so I did it from this building, but I don't know where Mr. Garrett was when he did his.
Okay. We can, if you would like to talk afterwards, so I can see, perhaps we can look at whether it's a server issue or if it's simply something like cleaning your caches, if it's going to an incorrect address, but we are working on that.
Okay, and so do I have to repeat another request, or is my picture of my requests and timeline from the email, official government email, going to be sufficient?
I'm going to defer to Mr. Tillotson on that, as to whether or not we can fulfill a public records request that did not come through the official system. And perhaps Ms. Jacobs can assist us
Yeah,
as well.
we'll take a look at that, and if we can talk about it right after the meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
And also, I'll wait to make a question about the handbook later on in the meeting, but I'm glad that we're able to move forward with the logo because I think it's like a very close miscall situation because it wasn't put in the deliverables of the contract of something that we probably should have been able to do in-house, which is to rebrand. So,
If at all possible, I'd like to have this conversation offline. Part of what we're doing with our rebranding and our other strategies in the port, this is an area where confidentiality should apply. So we'd like to have these discussions offline when it comes to trademark of the port and the rebranding of the port.
okay, I understand that part.
Okay.
But the fact that when we make a mistake and it was a public mistake, that is a public situation. So that's why I discussed all of this in public prior.
Okay, well, thank you very much, and I don't consider it as a mistake. We launched the brand, we moved at the speed of business, and I think Ms. Bell really pointed out in her comments that we're not in any jeopardy whatsoever, so it was not a mistake.
So you don't think that the deliverable from the contract should have had this trade name in the contract? I thought before you'd said that you took full responsibility for it.
I take full responsibility for everything that we do here at the port. The buck definitely stops with me. But in terms of the port being at risk, we are not at risk.
We were lucky that we weren't at risk.
Appreciate that is your opinion.
I'm going to interject here because we voted on the rebranding, which had the contract. So if there was an issue back then, ultimately, it's us as at fault also. So
I never see the contracts that we use. Do you?
yes, when we voted on the rebranding, it was part of the ordinance that we voted on.
The whole contract?
Yes, it was like 3 pages.
So
So
are you saying that it's more our responsibility or more the people that are running the port to deliver us the information properly?
what I'm saying is what we're talking about is something that we voted on in the past, and if we have an issue, we need to figure that out for the future. But right now, we voted on it. We're not at risk. We can correct going forward. But I think since we voted on that contract, if there was an issue back then, we should have raised our concerns then.
So in other words, what you're saying is, moving forward, every contract that we have, each of us as commissioners should examine it closely to make sure that there are no problems in it, legally or otherwise, before we vote on it.
Any ordinance that we vote on, I review to make sure legally or ethically or anything that, I mean, if I have questions about any ordinance, I ask for the supporting documents if they're not already there.
Okay.
Ultimately, we voted on it to direct the executive director to execute that contract.
Okay, well then I would eventually request that we have an attorney for the commissioners that we can turn to, solely for the commissioners, to ask these questions to, and I yield.
We have one in Mr. Garrett.
He is a council attorney, he's not officially our court commissioner attorney.
But we, as we talked about earlier, as the council, we are in our meeting of the sole governing authority of the Plaquemines Parish Council as the sole governing authority. So since he works for us for the council, he works for us with the port. You talked to him about the public records request with the.
I did, because I don't have anybody else to talk to.
But he worked for you as a commissioner. That was on the port side.
Because we don't have a port.
Okay, we can talk offline about this but he is going to charge us, and ultimately, half the council. Ultimately, per our CEA with the parish and the council, the commission and the council, is that goes to the council secretary's office, and we pay 50% of his fees. So he does technically work for us.
So then-
Mr. Chairman, I would like to just point out that it is not uncommon to launch, a rebranding with a trademark coming on the tail end of it. It happens sometimes. That is a strategy. As a port director, I was very comfortable that our strategic geography in our logo and in our branding was not something that is easily duplicated. And I would like to publicly praise the ports team for all of the efforts that were put forth to make this happen in a timely manner. It has been received very well globally. I think Ms. Bell just pointed out that we had 78 million hits over a very short period of time on the logo, or on the website. The feedback that we have received from American Association of Port Authorities, from the Gulf Ports Association, and from the Ports of Louisiana has been all positive and overwhelming. So I think the ports team did a great job. I'm proud of what we've accomplished, and I yield.
Again, I'm really proud of the work being done, and I think with Ms. Vicknell, I share with her from day one how I felt about it. The only thing that I'm having with this, I could see if this was somebody challenging us on it, but we're talking about as commissioners, that this represent us. And so it's almost like we challenge whether we did something legal or not. That's how I'm taking it. And I'm saying it should be, if we did something legal, then let whoever on the other side prove to us we did something legal. And I think you answered my that question when you say you extended yourself out to make sure it helped. The other thing I'm really proud of, I went to the training in Baton Rouge, and I never forget when the Pope meeting was there, one of the guys stood up and said, "Oh, excuse me, I mean Louisiana Gateway Port, I'm sorry." And so this came out of a person that was up there and wanted to make sure that they understand that Plaquemines Parish is the Louisiana Gateway Port. And I mean, everybody I talked to that training, they got up and I heard the name talk to people over and over. So I just think that, to me, I'm still understanding what we're doing here. Seems like this should be coming from somebody suing us, the saying we did something wrong, whether from internal.
Let's hope that nobody sues us. You said this should be coming from somebody suing us. Let's not encourage anybody to.
But no, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying usually this would usually happen, somebody suing us and we defending it.
I know, I got it, but just the
Okay.
way it was phrased, I was like, let's not hope for that.
No, I don't want to wish that, but I'm saying this could open the door for somebody doing it.
All right, you done, Rev?
Yes, I yield.
Ms. McCarty?
Okay, again, I'm not saying that the logo is not pretty. That's not what I said, you know. What I was trying to say is that we did open ourselves up to a situation by launching it before going to file for a trademark, even if it was in commerce, because the words are similar to another Louisiana Gateway Terminal in Plaquemines Parish, which has a pending, before us, which already has a pending U.S. Patent and Trademark Office listing, and it has the same colors and a inverted wave from the New Orleans port. That's what I was saying. It opened us up to issues. So anyhow, thank you.
Thank you. Next item, please.
For bids and advertisements, there are none. 5, introduction of ordinances and resolutions.
We have the following, excuse me, we have the following legislation being put under Councilmember Schultz's name. A resolution amending resolution number 25-43, clarifying the cost share for purchasing a FLIR camera for its shared helicopter with Plaquemines Parish Sheriff's Office and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. A resolution authorizing Charles D. Tillotson, Executive Director of the Plaquemines Parish Louisiana Gateway Port, to enter into and execute a professional services agreement with T. Baker Smith for an as-needed task order basis, as directed by the Executive Director, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. A resolution authorizing Charles D. Tillotson, Executive Director of the Plaquemines Parish Louisiana Gateway Port, to enter into and execute a professional services agreement with Nemo Marine LLC for an as-needed task order basis as directed by the Executive Director and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance to approve change orders and amend the 5-year capital improvements budget for the MV Pride Dry Dock project and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance to award and fund the 5-year capital improvement plan for the MV Belle Chase 2 Dry Dock project and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. A resolution adopting the disadvantaged business enterprise policy for Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana Gateway Port to be added to the port's approved policies and procedures and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. And the last one is under Councilmember LaFrance, an ordinance to authorize and direct the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District Executive Director Charles D. Tillotson or his designee to prepare and send out mail-outs to inform Plaquemines Parish residents and businesses of the port's progress and work being done on a yearly or twice-a-year basis and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. And that is it.
Ms. Toops? All right. We will be deferring 6G as in golf, J as in Juliet, and O as in Oscar, correct?
L, huh?
And L.
L, we're deferring L? And L as in Lima. G, J, L, and O. Everybody understand that? We're good? We're good? Next item, please.
6, ordinances and resolutions on second reading and final passage. 6B, a resolution adopting the quarterly updates and additions to the policies and procedures for Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Commissioner Schultz.
I ask for a second. Second by Mr. Newsom. Any comments from the audience? Administration. Table. Ms. McCarty.
Okay, I'm trying to find the question that I originally sent. And since I didn't get a direct answer to the question, I just want a verbal yes or no. So that's not it. Sorry, is there someone else in queue? No?
No.
Okay. Oh, shoot, where is it? You got the original? Okay, okay, I think I found it. Is there any wording in the port policies in the handbook, or any other documents, to restrict employees from having conversations with commissioners, personal or regarding the port, other than something under a non-disclosure? And that's it.
So I think first off, Mr. Chairman, what I'd like to say is that we do have an organization chart, and I think that we should honor the organization chart. So the executive director, the appointing authority, reports to the Port Commission. So officially, that is the official channels that where the communication should flow. But there is nothing in our policies that say that a commissioner cannot talk to a port employee. We are not openly, or vice versa. But I mean, I would just like to emphasize that, you know, organizational structure is very important. We are a very small and lean port, and we are very busy. And what if you know, I think one of the things that I'd like to clarify is that the port's preference is that a commissioner is not giving guidance or direction to a port employee. I think that we just need to make sure that we honor that structure.
Yes, I'm not referring to us going to an employee and saying, this is what you have to do. I'm
Right.
saying, if the employee has concern about an issue, I want to make sure that there's nothing written anywhere in any of the documents that prohibits the employee after, perhaps that they should go through the chain, yes. But I want to make sure that there's nothing that will prohibit or punish that employee for going to a commissioner. That's all.
I thought that I presented it pretty clearly in my executive
For
director
yesterday.
comments that, I mean, when it comes to ethics, there is absolutely nothing in our policies that prevents an employee, if they want to blow the whistle, if they want to report something that they think is problematic, if they're being harassed by a supervisor, et cetera, et cetera. There's nothing that prevents that, including if an employee wants to file a grievance. You know, an employee can go through the grievance machinery. Our policies and our procedures are basically to set the standards for which we want to perform. And with these policies, our focus and our strategy moving forward is to create a continuous improvement system. So in order for us to have to have that continuous improvement system, we have to have a baseline of our policies, and we intend to come back to the Commission quarterly with updates to our policies to continue to improve. But there is no intent to prevent a commissioner from talking about a concern or an employee from talking about a concern to the Commission. We just request that we go through the organizational structure and that, you know, that we follow any policies that are set forth on how communication is to take place.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure the answer was clearly answered to the employees. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Newsom.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, the policy was very lengthy. I think it got sent to all the commissioners on April 21st, about 10 o'clock. I have read it, brought my concerns to the Port executive team, responded, but ultimately we need to remember our role sitting up here as commissioner is governance. Thank you, and I yield.
Machines are open. Passes 8-0 with Commissioner Dewey absent. Next item, please.
D, a resolution authorizing and directing the Port's Executive Director, Charles Tillotson, to enter into and execute a CEA between the Plaquemines Port Harbor Harbor and Terminal District and Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development to coordinate grant funding and project management of the Walker Road Bridge project and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. And this has changes.
Please read the changes.
Okay. In the preamble, on line 3, we're removing cooperative endeavor agreement, and on line 4, we're putting intergovernmental agreement. On line 5, we're including DBA Louisiana Gateway Port. On line 7, we're removing Walker and inserting Peters. The digest, we're removing the CEA is for the port and LADOTD to coordinate project management and grant funding for the Walker Road Bridge project. And we inserted intergovernmental agreement is and for the port and LADOTD to coordinate project management and grant funding for the Peters Road Bridge project. On line 17, Walker has been removed and Peters has been inserted. On line 22, CEA has been removed and intergovernmental agreement has been inserted. On line 39, cooperative endeavor agreement has been removed. Intergovernmental agreement has been inserted. On line 40, DBA Louisiana Gateway Port has been inserted. Line 42, Walker has been removed and Peters has been inserted. And those are the changes.
Thank you. I offer. Ask for a second. Second by Reverend Edwards. Any comments from the audience? Administration. Table. Oh, you not make a comment? You were queued in. You were queued in. Oh, no. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Machines are open. Passes.
Showed you know I have jury block, right?
What?
So I had
He didn't block.
8. Yeah, that's why you kept skipping over. 8-0, Commissioner Gooey absent. Next item, please.
D, a resolution adopting revisions to the Port Civil Service Employee Handbook for the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District, DBA Louisiana Gateway Ports Policies and Procedures, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Commissioner Schultz.
I offer. Ask for a second. Second by Mr. Newsom, Commissioner Newsom. Any comments? Any comments from the audience? Administration. Table. Machines are open. Passes 8-0, Commissioner Gooey absent. Next item, please.
E, a resolution authorizing the Executive Director of the Port, Charles D. Tillotson, to enter into and execute an agreement between Venable LLP and Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District, DBA Louisiana Gateway Port, to review the Infinity Engineering Consultants design of the rail extension on behalf of Surface Transportation Board to the proposed Plaquemines 11-mile rail extension and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Commissioner Schultz.
I offer. Ask for a second. Second by Commissioner McCarty. Any comments from the audience? Table. Administration. Table. Machines are open. Passes 8-0, Commissioner Gooey absent. Next item, please.
A resolution authorizing the Executive Director of the Port, Charles D. Tillotson, to enter into and execute an independent NEPA review between Freeze and Nichols, Inc. and Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District, DBA Louisiana Gateway Port, to review the Infinity Engineering Consultants design of the rail extension on behalf of the Surface Transportation Board to the proposed Plaquemines 11-mile rail extension and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Commissioner Schultz.
I offer. Ask for a second. Second by Commissioner Konovich. Any comments from the audience? Administration. Table. Machines are open. Passes 8-0. Commissioner Gooey absent. Next item, please.
H, a resolution to authorize the signatories on all Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District bank accounts at Regions Bank and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Commissioner Schultz.
I offer. Ask for a second. Second by Commissioner McCarty. Any comments from the audience? Administration? Table? Machines are open. Passes 8-0 with Commissioner Gui absent. Next item, please.
A resolution to authorize the signatories on all Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District bank accounts at Hancock Whitney Bank and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Commissioner Schultz.
I offer, ask for a second. Second by Commissioner McCarty. Comments from the audience? Administration? Table? Machines are open. Passes 8-0. Commissioner Gui absent. Next item, please.
K, an ordinance to reclassify the 50,000 increase in the contract amount which was approved with ordinance 2556 from Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District Fund 2025 operating expenditure budget line item professional services general to the 2025 5-year capital improvement budget economic impact analysis where the project and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Commissioner Schultz, this has changes.
On line 1, we're removing reclassify, and we're adding the following language: amend ordinance number 25-56 that authorized A has been inserted.
Hold on.
All we're doing, this is
Yeah, I know
administrative.
what we're, okay.
It's
Yeah,
just administrative,
I know what
there's no
you're-
I
money.
need to read the changes.
Yeah, okay. I thought you had something wrong with the changes. Okay, continue, Ms. Stoops, sorry.
On line 4, after the semicolon, we're adding and reallocate. On line 5, we are scratching out where and into line 6, the project. On line 9, we're inserting the economic impact analysis but. On line 10, we're removing but, and we're adding and it. And also requested from and removing the to, the 5-year capital improvement plan. On lines 14, ordinance number 25-56 and reallocating 50,000 from has been inserted. On line 15, district for terminal district fund, operating expenditure budget, line item professional services general to the has been inserted. On line 16, by transfer of 50,000 from 2025 operating expenditure budget, Port Harbor and Terminal District Department, that has been removed, and those are the changes.
I offer with the changes, ask for a second. Second by Mr. Commissioner Kongovich, and just for the public's knowledge, we already voted on this. It was accidentally put in as a regular expenditure, but we had a project in the capital improvements plan, so we're moving from the expenditure to the capital improvement. It's just cleanup of the accounting records. So no additional money. We already voted on that a couple meetings ago. Any comments from the public? Administration? Table? Machines are open. And it passes 8-0 with Commissioner Gui absent. You gotta have some fun.
M, a resolution authorizing the port director to petition and file an application for a map change pursuant to and in conformity with the comprehensive zoning ordinance to rezone those certain properties located in Point Celeste Farm subdivision, Phase 1, identified as lots 18 through 26, 27 through 29, and 30, and additionally Track A, from floodplain district to heavy industrial district, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Commissioner Schultz. And this has changes.
Go ahead with the changes.
On line 5, lots 18 through 26, currently owned by a third party, is being removed. On line 6, we're inserting the word lot before the 30. On line 7, after the words by a third party, we are removing and additionally Tract A, currently owned by a third party. The same changes are being made on line 11 in the digest. 18 through 26, currently owned by a third party, is being removed. On line 12, lot 30 has been inserted. On line 13, and additionally Track A, currently owned by a third party, is being removed. Same thing for line 24, lot 18 through 26, currently owned by a third party, is being removed. Line 25, the word lot is being inserted, and additionally Tract A. On line 26, currently owned by third party, and those are the changes.
I offer with the changes, ask for a second. Second by Commissioner Kongovich. Any comments from the audience? Administration. Mr. Jursich.
Yes, my question is currently owned by a third party, so this third party no longer is an owner?
No, they are still an owner. That is the Balsou property, and they are actually doing that rezoning themselves. So
Okay,
that's parcel 4.
they're going to do their own rezoning.
That's correct. So they have everything. As a matter of fact, I think they've already submitted their documentation for it.
That's on Tract A. They still own the lot 30, correct?
Lot 30 is included in this. That's the
Yes,
only
they
one.
do own that.
They still own that. That is correct. Lot 30. And that is within the Piano Keys 2, where we're planning to build a container terminal. And our intention is to purchase that from Balsou.
Okay. And they're going to agree to that?
We are in discussions, and we have some ongoing talks to making that happen.
Well, my question would be, if they're going to rezone their other stuff, why don't they rezone everything under their name?
Well, we went
Why
ahead,
would we assist them when they can do it?
because what we were attempting to do, everything in Piano Keys 2, where the container terminal was, to just have that in one block, whereas parcel 4 is outside of that.
And if they don't make an agreement with you,
We're anticipating that is going to happen, and we actually we've had some discussions on our pathway to getting that done.
I just think if they can rezone their own, let them rezone their own, because if we wind up not getting this, then we spent money and they've taken it. They didn't make a deal. Some of these that we're dealing with, I get it, but you're not comparing apples to oranges right here. These people going to be a lot tougher to deal with.
Understand?
That's all I have to say.
Yes, I agree. I've voiced my concern to you in meetings over the last couple of weeks about this. I agree with Mr. Jursich that they should rezone their own property, especially if nothing in writing that says they're going to sell it to us, because let's be honest, we've seen how, I don't think they are. The other ones that we voted on that aren't third party in the past, that we already voted on in the past, has agreed to negotiate, and basically, so again, I've voiced my concern to you over the past couple of weeks, and that's where I stand. Mr. LaFrance.
Yes. I only ask that any property for rezoning or anything of this multitude, that it comes underneath my name. That is my district, so I expect for that to come underneath my name.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. McCarty.
I understand Mr. Jurisich's concern as the steward of the parish's money. And I would also add that if we were to acquire first right of refusal for any property to be able to purchase that property, then we might also consider allowing us to rezone that. But otherwise, I'm not in favor of this at this time.
Reverend Edwards.
Charles, is the door closed in terms of doing what Mitch acts? We just at the point where we can't go back and act them.
Well, the door's not closed. We could pass that on, but the issue is that property sits right in the middle of where the container terminal will be. And so we're purchasing the property on both sides of it. It's actually one lot. And we just want to include this all in our package so that entire almost 200-acre facility is rezoned in a contiguous block. We don't know what's going to happen with parcel 4. We assume that Balsou will be successful in getting that rezoned, but we don't know if their timeline is going to be aligned with our timeline. So it is imperative that we include it. It will be rezoned, and our intent is to purchase it, and we have had discussions between Dwyer Cambray and Balsu on a pathway to getting that done. And we believe we can get it done.
I'm done.
So, one other question that just kind of popped up in my brain, sitting here thinking when Reverend Edwards was talking, is mention, if they don't sell, we've mentioned our options at that point. But if we rezone it for them, not for them, I mean, I get they're going to pay the fee, but if we rezone it for them, then it's going to end up costing us. If we, let's be honest, we at one point mentioned expropriation, which I'm not right now in favor of that. But if we rezone it and then end up expropriation, it's going to end up costing us more. While if they don't rezone it and we expropriate at the lower value because it's still currently zoned floodplain, I just don't like the rezoning for other people. If they want it rezoned to get more value out of it, why can't they do it on their own? I've been asking that question for weeks.
Well, they have not asked us to rezone it so that they get extra value. Again, what our attempt here, we need a contiguous block of about 200 acres to be rezoned to heavy industrial, and we'd like to get that done in one application, a single application, and we've done a lot of legal legwork with the zoning office to get it done. Now, we initially had parcel 4 in there, and we had this conversation, and we agreed, and we dropped parcel 4 out, and those were the changes that we just discussed. But it is imperative that we rezone this 200-acre block because we want to be able to move forward with surveys and move forward with what we're doing with the container project, and we don't want anything to slow that down.
I get it, but I still have some concerns as a commissioner. Mr. Jursich.
Yes, it comes to me again, we talk about container port. For the container port terminal, we still have, nothing in writing to say that it is definitely coming. It goes along with purpose and need too, so we're gonna be looking at buying properties and trying to expropriate when we have a want and a purpose, but we don't have the need yet. And I just, I can't support this today. If we get something in writing that, everybody's agreeing to, like the other ones that are agreeing to sell, they just getting their property rezoned. So I'm not going to be able to support this today.
Mr. Kognovich.
If we rezone it or they rezone it, it's still going to cost the same amount. And let's just say we buy the property and the container port doesn't come. It doesn't mean we can't put anything else there. We on the river. That's where companies want to be, because of the shipping and all. So it ain't like we buying a piece of property and we ain't never going to use it.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Kognovich, and I'd like to just give a better example on that. I have a news article hanging up in the port conference room regarding, I think it was 2014, the port buying a cow pasture, which is Venture Global today. I think that the value of that property for us to build a container port, it is clearly there. The access to the water, it is over 50 feet. We have a recent survey of that 200-acre block. I assure you, if we rezone this property, we will move forward and we will build a marine terminal. We will build a marine terminal because it is a prime location for one of the deepest draft marine terminals on the Mississippi River with the widest natural turning basin.
Ms. McCarty.
If we go ahead and rezone it, it is a cost incurred by the port. Secondly, they could choose not to sell it to us, and therefore we will have increased the price of the property. So the way other things have happened, I didn't read every detail of a contract. I'm going to say that I can't feel assured of anything unless we have something in writing.
Mr. Chairman, can we defer this item?
Yes.
Thank you.
I think, Mr. Champagne, you want to make your comment before we defer? Wait, hold on.
Thank you. I'd like to. I think Commissioner Cognovich made a great point. The cost is going to be passed on to us regardless if we do it or they do it. The cost gets passed on to us. Number two, we talk about having assurances from the operator that we're going to do this thing. Well, this sends a message. Here it is. Here is 200 acres of contiguous property done. We've got it. We're ready to go. But if we don't do it, we look clumsy again. Here we go. We're doing everything with this little piece because we're afraid to spend a couple of nickels that we're going to have to come back and pay for anyway. It's going to be passed on to us one way or the other. So I say, we always say we are not moving forward. Let's move forward. Let's get this thing, have this 200 acres of property done. We've got it rezoned. Now we're ready to finish buying it and move forward with the port. We've got to take a leap of faith. As the commissioner took the words out of my mouth, I'm saying, this harkens back to buying a cow pasture. Let's buy another cow pasture. I yield.
Ms. LaFrance?
Well, since you said what you're going to say, I'll.
All right, since y'all want to defer it, what I'm going to do is withdraw it. Kim, can we go back to introductions based on Ms. LaFrance's earlier comment and reintroduce it under Ms. LaFrance's name since it's in his district? Are you okay with that, Charles? I mean, it's the same thing. So we're going to withdraw the 6M, go back to introductions, reintroduction, and then we'll continue.
This is going under Councilmember LaFrance, a resolution authorizing the port director to petition and file. Let me ask you a question. Do you want me to?
Changes.
With the changes?
Correct.
Okay. A resolution authorizing the port director to petition and file an application for a map change pursuant to and in conformity with the comprehensive zoning ordinance to rezone those certain properties located in Point Celeste Farms subdivision, Phase 1, identified as lots 18 through 20.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry, we're removing that. As lots 27 through 29, currently owned by a third party, and lot 30, currently owned by a third party, from floodplain district to heavy industrial I-3 district, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto.
Thank you. All right, next item 6N.
A resolution authorizing and directing the Executive Port Director Charles D. Tillotson or his designee to prepare and send mail-outs to inform Plaquemines Parish residents and business of the port's progress and work being on a yearly or twice-a-year basis, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Commissioner LaFrance.
Ms. LaFrance?
Okay, so
Offered by Ms. LaFrance, second by Commissioner Cognovich. Any comments from the audience?
well, we got to make a recommendation.
Wait, hold on. Ms. LaFrance?
Yes, we got to make a recommendation. Either it's going to be bi-yearly, every 6 months, or yearly. What is the preference of the council? Twice a year? Then twice a year.
Yes, sir.
I so offer? Okay, good.
Any comments from the audience? Administration?
Nope.
Table? Machines are open. Passes 8-0. Next item, please.
7, new business. 8, approval of the minutes from the April 24th, 2025 regular meeting.
Offered by Mr. Newsom,
Second.
second by Mr. Jurcich. Comments from the audience? Administration? Table? Machines are open.
Say it loud.
Passes. Mr. Champagne passes 8-0. Do I have a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Mr. LaFrance, second by Commissioner Cognovich. Any comments from the audience? Administration? Table? Machines are open. Passes 7-1. Oh, 6-1 with Ms. McCarty not voting.
Thank you.
Verbal, yes. But that's 7-1 with Reverend Edwards as the lone no vote. We have adjournment at 6:10 PM.